Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here on Auto Wisdom. Today we have the special privilege of sitting behind the wheel of a 2007 BMW E63 M6. Now without further ado, let's go ahead and give it the beans. As you might be able to tell, this car has a power plant that will send you to very, very high speeds with relative ease. This is a 5-liter naturally aspirated V10 engine that is codenamed the S85, and it produces a whopping 507 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque. The other incredible thing about this V10 engine is it's 8,250 RPM redline, which is astronomical, and of course it aids in the menacing induction and exhaust note of this lovely engine. Now, the E63 generation of BMW M6 came from a very special time where BMW did not necessarily have the government, financial, and legal limitations that many German automakers now face being a part of the European Union. The emissions laws and safety laws were completely different back in the early to mid 2000s, and they were stuffing incredible power plants into a variety of BMW M vehicles. We see this being the case with cars like the E92 M3 as well, which also featured a 4-liter naturally aspirated S65 cross-plane V8 engine, and then this S85 V10. Additionally, BMW was also competing in a variety of motorsport-based competition events, such as Formula One, where historically they had been known for building some incredible V10 engines that powered their Sauber F1 vehicles. And this BMW M6 definitely takes some degree of inspiration from those powertrains. It sounds the part. This engine features forged aluminum male pistons. It has dry sumped lubrication for pulling high lateral G-forces on the racetrack to ensure optimal oiling at all times. It has a proper motorsport intake plenum, and it feeds air into 10 individual throttle bodies, which again just help to aid the absolutely wonderful sound that this engine produces, and it is glorious. Oh my god. Now all that power is sent through a 7-speed SMG3 single clutch automated transmission, and it is quite infamous because obviously it is a single clutch transmission, and we know historically that a lot of auto manufacturers at the time that were building sports cars and supercars were putting these single clutch gearboxes into their cars. I mean, Audi with the R-Tronic, Ferrari with its F1 paddle shift gearbox, Lamborghini E-Gear, and BMW's SMG. So you would think traditionally that this is very clunky and not all that great to use on an everyday basis, and there is some truth to that for sure. But when you unlock this car's most aggressive shift setting, it is absolutely violent. I don't even know how else to describe it. The entire car shakes. The transmission shifting is actually very, very aggressive and quick and responsive, especially when you're bringing the car all the way up to the 8200 redline that it features. And it makes for an absolutely joyous experience. I hope the ferocity of the gear changes are coming through on the camera. Maybe you can see it with the way that the camera shakes, because it is an experience that I don't really know how to describe in words. It's just one of those things that you need to feel for yourself in person. We also have a limited slip differential that is sending the power to the rear wheels, and it makes this car very easy and controllable to drive. And what I absolutely love is how deliciously smooth this V10's power band is. It really just makes me have a greater appreciation for naturally aspirated engines because of how easily you can plant your foot into the throttle and power just builds up in such a linear and relatively gradual fashion all the way to the red line of the V10. Downshifts are quite responsive as well. The SMG3 will actually rev match for you as well. And while the up changes are not as fast as any DCT or modern ZF-equipped automatic transmission, they're not bad for what it is. And ultimately, you're buying and enjoying this car for the experience that it provides. And let me tell you, it provides an experience that is unparalleled to anything that is on sale today. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate that by giving it another pull. So much power on tap. Before you know it, you are reaching triple-digit speeds in this thing. Now, it's also really cool to note that BMW put a lot of technology that was not only motorsport derived, but stuff that is quite characteristic of a supercar into this vehicle to not only reduce the curb weight, but enhance the performance overall. We have a carbon fiber roof that not only sheds weight on the top end of the car, but actually lowers the center of gravity by around 2 inches compared to a 650i, or the next trim down of the 6 Series from this time. In addition to that, we have a double wishbone suspension up front with a multi-link aluminum setup in the rear, forged aluminum wheels, and we also have CFRP front and rear bumpers, and the side panels and the rear deck are made of reinforced plastic. So overall, that actually amounts to a 275-pound curb weight reduction compared to an E63 M6, which is the 5 Series sedan equivalent of this M6. And as a result of that, I mean, you really feel like this car is not only more agile in the corners, but it also just accelerates a little bit quicker as well. The steering of this BMW M6 is absolutely phenomenal. This comes from an era where I think BMW's steering systems pretty much peaked before they went to the EPS setups of modern day vehicles. And this features a hydraulically assisted power steering setup that is brimming with feedback and feel. It is direct. It is fairly light, actually. It has a nice natural weighted feel to it, but it's nothing that's overly heavy to where you feel like you're constantly wrestling with the steering wheel of the car. And I feel so much of what the road is communicating to me through the steering wheel of the vehicle. And that's something that, you know, no matter how good modern day EPS systems get, it's truly hard to replicate that feel that I'm getting in this car on a one-to-one scale. Now, in terms of modifications, as you guys can probably tell, this car is not completely stock. It features a resonator delete and a secondary cat delete from the exhaust system, paired up to some Valvetronic axle back muffler systems that are controlled actually through the garage door opener that is built into the rear view mirror of this car, which I think is a very nifty and neat feature. And when the valve is closed, this thing is dead silent. You wouldn't even know it had a V10 in it. But then when you open up the valve, it unleashes the banshee wail of that 5-liter engine. We also have a set of iBox springs to tastefully lower the ride height of the car. And in addition to that, the car is riding on Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires all around, with some BMW M6 forged aluminum wheels that are actually off of the F13 generation, which is the vehicle that succeeded this car in the future. And I really think it enhances the visual appeal of this car. From a design standpoint, I know many people are not really a fan of these cars. It's kind of like the ugly duckling or the red-headed stepchild era of BMW design language, but the design has grown on me quite a bit, actually, and I do just like how tasteful and relatively subtle it is. But I think what I like even more is that amazing power plant that is just so violent. I don't know how else to describe it. What an amazing vehicle. These are definitely going to be future classics, and I think they've gained a particularly notorious and negative reputation because of some unfortunate reliability woes that these vehicles experience, such as rod bearing failures, throttle actuators going out, SMG pumps, and you know, rightfully so. These cars, if they're not well maintained, they can be an absolute money pit. But I think if you pick up a relatively clean and tastefully modded example such as this one, and then budget, you know, between $5,000 to $6,000 per se for preventative maintenance, you can go ahead and take care of those big ticket items, and overall you have a pretty sound and unique vehicle that really doesn't compare to anything else on the street, not only from what's on sale today, but also just in the used market. This is an incredibly unique vehicle that really kind of offers like the old school early to mid 2000s supercar experience for under 30 grand. The driving position is also really nice and driver focused. Like typical BMWs, it's a no BS and gimmick free interior and cabin space. Very comfortable seating position with dynamic bolsters that will actually inflate depending on the steering position of the car. And the gauge cluster is very clean. It's that typical kind of E92 era of gauge cluster. The iDrive unit is old as hell. I don't even bother looking at it, but everything is draped in a nice feeling, you know, soft leather. There aren't too many exposed plastics. We have a nice, you know, carbon fiber center console trim, and the headliner is also wrapped in Alcantara, which I like. I really think that adds to the high quality kind of supercar feel of this M6. We'll give her one last pull for good measure. What an absolute treat to have the privilege and opportunity of driving this car, guys. Such a special vehicle, and I encourage anybody that's interested in looking to purchase one to definitely consider driving one at the very least and putting it into the proper modes and ripping on it, because it is surely something that is guaranteed to leave a smile on your face and an imprint in your memory. With all that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this review. As always, if you could go ahead and support the channel by leaving a thumbs up as well as subscribing down below, I would appreciate it immensely. With all that being said, I will catch you all in the next one. Take it easy. Bye-bye. Any shortage of power. Oh, fuck. Fucking cop.
Doing? Stopped you for your speed directly behind you, 86 miles an hour. Why are you driving so fast?
I'm sorry, officer. I actually have like a YouTube channel, and I was filming a vehicle review on this M6. That's why.
Can I see your driver license?
All the camera equipment. Yeah, no problem.
All right. I'm going to cut you a warning, okay? This is a written warning. This is showing my boss that you and I had a conversation, all right, about your speed,
Yes,
and you're
sir.
going to slow it down, right?
Thank you so much.